Hello everyone, here I'm back again with another Escalation Tier 10 video. This time I'm gonna be playing Wall Street. Let me show you my build real quick. I'm using 4-piece striker, all pieces with echo, critical hit damage, along with the backpack and the chest piece. I'm using XRS gloves because these things are great for solo play. I'm also using Sheska knee pads with echo and almost got roll DPS stats. For my guns, I'm using double MK46, both weapons with echo, critical hit chance, and frenzy. That way I can deal with the variety pack debuff. I'm also using this conveniently got roll quickstep pistol, there you go, I wanted to show you that. And I'm also using reviver hype, decoy, and gunner specialization. My seasonal modifier is already maxed out, and I'm using the invincible active modifier along with munitions belt, contagion, and surge drive passive modifiers. And for my stats, here are all of the sources for critical hit chance. I have 186.3% critical hit damage and a sum of 201.5% all weapon damage plus LMG damage. So let's start with the mission. So for this beginning room, we are gonna be staying behind this trash can right at the entrance. We are gonna be taking cover behind it, and from here we're gonna be dealing with the 3 enemy waves that we are gonna find on this room. Should be a pretty straightforward thing, just be careful with the enemies that are gonna be on the top, the enemies that are gonna be spawning on the right side, and the enemies that are gonna be spawning right at the back of the room. If you see an enemy with the once for all modifier, as always, focus fire on them so that you're able to spread damage to all the nearby enemies, as well as remove the damage reduction layer that every nearby enemy will have. And every time you get one kill with one of your LMGs, switch to your other LMG so that we can cleanse the variety pack debuff. As you can see on the bottom, right on my debuffs, I already have the variety pack debuff right at the maximum. That's going to be a 25% weapon damage debuff. Not so sure if it is an amplified debuff or if it is just a 25 all weapon damage debuff. But anyways, it's still a debuff nonetheless. So yeah, always switch your LMG so that you can keep your DPS high enough. Especially because you are playing on your own. And for this next part right here, we are gonna find some more enemies to kill. After the first line of dialogue finishes, the Riker will start shooting some mortar at us. And yeah, that's pretty much for this room, and we can continue along with the mission. And yeah, as you already guys noticed, I definitely was in a bit of a hiatus. Definitely some things happen in real life. Everything good though on my part. But yeah, I should be back with all the videos that I always like to make. The escalation video, like the one that I'm currently making at. You can stay on this left side, by the way, so that you can shoot all of the enemies that are gonna be coming from the stairs. And also climb down this piece of cover so that you can shoot at the heavy enemies that are going to be on the second floor. But anyways, talking about my things that I have prepared, already have prepared a video for the current Master Difficulty Climax mission that we got this season. Not my favorite climax mission from the ones that the devs have released, but I think it's a pretty doable if you use a certain protection from elites build. But yeah, some of you guys already have told me that you have done it, but I definitely want to leave that for those that still need the help, you know. You definitely need a bit of a DPS boost to be able to complete some of the sections on that mission. And I also want to do a second incursion solo run. I mean, I already did the one for the first incursion, even though I never uploaded it. Sorry for that. But I definitely want to upload it along with the second incursion, especially seeing that there's many people who have already done it on solo. Definitely not the quickest incursion to do solo. Probably gonna take like a 2-hour video. That's gonna be an interesting thing to edit, but yeah, be on the lookout for that one. Anyways, for the gear crates, we are gonna be finding the first gear crate going upstairs towards the right side. That's gonna be gear crate 1 from 13, if I remember correctly. And before you go to the next room, We want to make sure that we are full on LMG ammo. That's because we are gonna be finding many enemy waves on that room, and the only ammo crate that is going to be on that room is going to be right next to all of the enemy spawns. So it's better to just be prepared and have all of our ammo ready. So anyways, we'll open this elevator shaft. We'll go up this rope and we'll open the second elevator shaft. In the middle of the animation, we are going to get the first wave of enemies. We're going to drop a decoy right in the middle of the room, and we want to stay on the left side of this piece of cover. This is my favorite piece of cover because the column that's on the middle, that one has the weird quirk that we can get shot by the enemies if we are on one of the borders of one of those columns, especially the left side of the column. I already had some times that I have been down by enemies, even though I'm actually like staying in cover, so I'll want to avoid that column as much as possible. The one that's to my right, that is. So yeah, essentially the idea is that we want to deal with the first wave of enemies, and as soon as we kill them, try to run towards the back of the room, and the moment the enemies spawn, we'll drop a decoy and start dealing with the wave of enemies that are gonna be spawning. I think from this part on, every time we kill enough enemies, we are going to spawn an additional wave of enemies. From one of those waves, we are going to get the boss, Duchess. We gotta make sure that we don't have any healer enemies nearby, and also make sure that we don't have the damage reduction layer active, so that we don't waste that much ammo trying to kill the boss. If everything goes right, like in this run, Duchess shouldn't be that much of an issue. Once Duchess is dead, we can play a lot more aggressively against the enemies, try to stay on the middle of the room essentially. But if Duchess is alive, we pretty much have to try to cut line of sight with her essentially. Like we can use the piece of cover where I'm currently at, or try to go through that hallway that I was previously shooting at, so that we are able to keep our distance from the boss. She can be pretty annoying to deal with. But yeah, I mean, in this run at least, the boss fight was pretty straightforward. So yeah, we can secure the crates, and with that we can continue along with the mission. And yeah, this mission definitely holds some memories for me, you know. I think that Wall Street video that I did back in Year 8 Season 1 is still to this day my most popular video by far, view-wise. So again, thank you for all of the support, for all of the people who watched that video back in the day, as well as all of my subscribers and all of the people who are currently watching this video and are also on the lookout for the rest of my future videos. So yeah, thank you so much guys for the support. I always like to tell you guys that. So anyways, once we get to this room, we're gonna throw the decoy towards either the center or the right side. It really depends on how far in the enemies are in your position. We essentially have to be careful that we don't get surrounded by the first wave of enemies, especially if that first wave of enemies is composed of rushers, and those rushers have damage reduction. Like in this case, things can get pretty tricky if we are not able to deal with the enemies on time, so just be careful. Luckily, at least for solo play, we don't have to worry about the enemy wave that spawns right on top of this room right here on the elevator shaft. That's not a thing for solo play, thankfully, but it's definitely a thing for co-op, so be mindful of that. Anyways, that's gear crate number 2. And once we kill the first 2 enemy waves, as soon as we jump this piece of cover, we'll make the enemy spawn right underneath us. So we'll drop a decoy right over there where the enemies are almost certainly going to be walking at, and thanks to proximity threat, the enemies will focus on the decoy instead of us. So we should be able to deal with the enemies that are trying to flank us on our current position. And the rest of the enemy waves should be piece of cake. Anyways, we'll get some more LMG ammo, and ideally we'll try to make sure that we are full on LMG ammo, because there's gonna be many enemies that we have to fight for the next section, especially the APC weak points. So we'll open this door, we'll get in cover on this police car, and we'll do a cover to cover move to this piece of cover in the middle. As soon as the decoy is down, we'll then do another cover to cover move towards that speaker over there, and we should be able to hide on this building right over here. The building has enough walls and a rooftop on top of our head so that we're able to protect ourselves from the mortar shots that the APC will be shooting towards us. And we also have a flexible enough piece of cover so that we can deal with both the APC weak points, as what I'm currently doing at. This is a pretty good position to shoot the first two weak points, as well as deal with the incoming enemy waves. There's always going to be an enemy wave after you destroy those first two weak points that we can kill pretty easily from the position where I was currently at. And once you destroy the third weak point, we are going to get more enemy waves from that door over there. If you want to take your time, just wait for every enemy wave to spawn from that door. Be mindful of the flanking enemies to your right. If we stay in this position, all the enemies will spawn from that door, like in this case over here. So be mindful of that. Once you finish off killing one of the enemy waves, we should be able to have enough of a time frame to move towards the opposite side of this room right here. That should leave us enough of a frame to take cover and use one of our frenzy LMGs to destroy the final APC weak point. And with that, we should be able to deal with the last enemy waves. Let's try to kill this guy. Come on. And there you go. Now, before we spawn the next enemy wave, the one that spawns after the boss blockade goes up, the one at the back of this room, we want to go for gear crate number 3. Gear crate number 3 is going to be not on this building, it's going to be on the opposite side building. I forgot. And try to not get too close to the boss, because then we are gonna spawn the next enemy wave that I was trying to avoid. Luckily just 3 to 4 enemies, so it shouldn't be that much of an issue. Anyways, if you didn't spawn the enemies, or if you were able to kill them, we should be able to go to this building, and behind this counter, we are going to find gear crate number 3. Right over here. And from here, we can continue along with the mission. Now, once you have around 700 bullets of LMG ammo, we should be able to get inside the gym, throw a decoy on the left side, and then go upstairs to try to flank the enemies. Some enemies like to climb right over here. Either that, or they like to stay on cover. We should be able to kill many enemies from this position. From here, you should be able to kill the enemies on the right side. Those are the closest ones to you that are able to flank you. And from there, on the same position, we should be able to deal with the next incoming enemy wave. The one that's coming from the pieces of wall that have been blown up. We'll try to stay over here. We don't want to pass through those holes just yet, so that we don't spawn another enemy wave. After you kill those enemies, we can now safely climb down. And once you go through this hole, we are gonna get the next enemy wave from that door over there. Shouldn't be that much of an issue trying to kill them. Just be mindful on the enemies that are taking cover behind these sofas. They can be pretty annoying to deal with. like the sofas have some pretty weird hit points, and it's very difficult to be able to shoot at the enemies. Like, there's no exposed parts to be able to shoot at them other than getting extremely close to them or shooting them from the flank. And once you kill the enemies from that enemy wave, we're gonna get one final enemy wave from those pairs of stairs. And with that, we're able to go along with the rest of the mission. Now before that, we want to make sure that we have close to almost maxed out LMG ammo. Gonna make sure to empty out both of my LMGs so that I can proc Frenzy on either of those, depending on the situation. And once both LMGs are empty out, I can now climb up these stairs. As soon as you climb up the top of those stairs, the enemies will start spawning. We'll run towards the right side, and we want to throw a decoy as close to the stage as possible. That way, we'll get the attention from the incoming enemies, especially the ones that are coming from the right side. Again, we are not going to get the attention of all enemies, but we should still get enough of a time frame to be able to deal with most enemies. And deal with a smaller amount of enemies that way. If an enemy stays on the top on the left side, we should be able to destroy that gasoline container thing and be able to force the enemy to stand up. And after you kill those beginning 2 enemy waves, once you hear the musical cue change, we are gonna get one final enemy wave. Most of the enemies will spawn on the right side, and we'll have a few enemies that are gonna be spawning from the top. And they usually like to run towards the left hallway, so be mindful of the left flank, essentially. Now, before you continue along, we are gonna be shooting this yellow box on the top, and that way, once we run towards this little hallway and take a turn, this door right here will be open, and we can open gear crate number 4 and 5. Now, after that, as soon as we get outside, we're gonna get the next 3 enemy waves. The first enemy wave is going to spawn right in front of us. Once you kill some enemies, we're gonna get 2 enemies spawning on that platform over there. Every time they peek out of cover, try to shoot at them. And if you want to force them to stand up, you can shoot at the little boxes that are on their platform to burn them and make them stand up. We're also gonna get a 3rd enemy wave to spawn from behind those flags. And after you kill all of the enemies from those 3 enemy waves, we are going to get one final enemy wave of 2 enemies after we lower this platform over here. These enemies shouldn't be that much of an issue. With that, we should be able to continue towards the final room of Wall Street. Now, before we enter the room, on the right side, we're going to find gear crate number 6. And now, for this final boss room, it's always going to be composed of 3 Riker heavies, or 3 Riker Shangas, whatever you want to call them. And essentially, you have 2 ways to fight them. The first one is to use Ravenous. In case your DPS is not high enough, shoot from the left shoulder, and that way you can destroy the shields and the armor of the enemies extremely quickly. If one of those enemies has one for all, we should be able to also use the left primers on Ravenous to spread amplified damage against all nearby enemies, especially the bosses. Here's gear crate number 7, by the way. And yeah, the second strategy is to just use a Frenzy LMG. But anyways, now before I continue along, I'm gonna be doing a quick strat to get the 2 weak points, the 2 yellow boxes that are inside this room, so that we can get access to gear crate number 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we can do it like this. As soon as we enter, shoot the yellow box on the left side, run towards the right side, and as soon as you get to the corner, you should be able to get visibility with gear crate number... No, the yellow box, the second one, sorry. So anyways, as soon as you destroy those yellow crates, try to leave a decoy on that room over there so that you can you're able to deal with the enemies essentially without having to actually shoot at them. It's not going to be a guarantee that they'll stay on inside the trading floor. Some enemies will try to get inside, try to flank you, but it shouldn't be that much of an issue trying to kill them, especially with how strong the modifiers are. So yeah, after you dealt with those enemies, we can then run towards this room. We should be able to destroy that yellow box over there, open this door, and as soon as we enter this room, if we do a 180 turn, we'll get access inside this room after we destroy the yellow box. And with that, we'll get access to gear crate number 9, 10, 11, and 12. Apologies if I said in the beginning that there were 13, I believe. I believe there's only 12, or at least that's how many I have been able to find on my own. So yeah, those are gonna be the last gear crates that I'm gonna be opening for Wall Street. After this, we can now go back and do the final room encounter. So to do this, we essentially going to stay right outside the entrance. We should be able to have plenty of pieces of cover so that we can deal with the enemies that are going to be spawning right at the back of the room, right where I'm currently aiming at. So, it shouldn't be that much of an issue. The first enemy wave is always going to be composed of yellows. That's why I like to fight from over here. But the second enemy wave is almost solely composed of red enemies. So it should be pretty easy to kill them. After you kill the last enemy, we should be able to go towards the final boss encounter for this mission. Unfortunately, there's no armor crates nearby, so we'll have to get inside this room in order to interact with the ammo crate. We're gonna need full LMG ammo if we want to use the LMG DPS strat, or the easiest strat essentially, to deal with the boss. So we'll stay on this island in the middle, and as soon as the boss spawns, we'll take cover so that we don't get immediately deleted by the boss. Depending on the modifiers that the boss spawn, that's going to be the priority that we are going to be using to fight this boss. In this case, we got two one-for-all enemies, including Dragov. Yes, I know he's called Dragov, not Kajika. So yeah, I'm going to be shooting Dragov so that I can spread the damage towards the rest of the Chungas. And that way I should be able to destroy, kill both of Dragov's bodyguards without too much of an issue. Now, just be on the lookout for any blue lights that may turn on the corners of this room. If you see blue lights, that means that an enemy wave is about to come out. In this case, the blue lights turn on this corner where I'm currently sitting at, and I got 3 enemies to spawn right over there. Luckily, we can use these diagonal pieces of cover to be able to have some amount of cover so that we don't get immediately deleted by the incoming enemy wave. Also be careful, because one of those enemies will always try to man the turrets that are on the corner of the room. Technically, you should be using those to try to kill Dragov, not Kajika, but again, this is Escalation tier 10, so it's far easier to just use the Frenzy LMG. Either that or the Ravenous. In fact, in this situation, I believe that using the blue primers from the Ravenous would have probably been a better idea, you know. I would have been able to shoot at Dragov, not Kajika, with the blue primers, and that way I can get both the amplified damage and spread the damage towards all of his bodyguards and be able to kill him a lot sooner. But anyways, still, like, even just using the LMG should be a pretty viable strat. Like, already using stuff like Contagion, Coronavirus Modifier as I like to call it, with maxed out strikers, I'm able to do 2 million damage per crit shot. And with that, I made easy work of Dragov. So yeah, that's Wall Street, everyone. I'm very glad that I was able to do an updated video guide for this mission, and I am totally aware that I went on a bit of a hiatus for this Division 2 content. Apologies for that. I'll definitely have some more videos to to try to justify some of the pause that I made on my publishing schedule. But at least I'm glad that I was able to try out many of the new content, especially the new incursion, which I definitely enjoyed a lot. So yeah, gonna be showing some of the plenty of loot that I managed to get from this mission, and yeah, overall, pretty decent mission to farm. Anyways, that was all for me for now. Thank you so much for the support. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I read all of your comments. And with that, I'll be seeing you guys in the next Division 2 video. Thank you guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye.